As folks come back, of course, they're going to find their houses, many of them all flooded out, but they're also going to find cakes of mud drenched in oil. It came from the Murphy oil refinery here, and Murphy is now offering a lot of these homeowners out-of-court settlements. Of course, that's much cheaper than litigation in court. But one local attorney says, not only watch where you step, but watch what you sign. 3021 Gallo Street in Chalmette, a house Roy Bourgeois used to call home.
I could cry every time I come in here.
Now Bourgeois calls it the epicenter of one of the worst residential oil spills in the nation's history.
I thought all these oil companies in this parish was prepared for this, so to speak, you know. I didn't never think that a tank would leak
and float away. At the Murphy Oil Company refinery in Miro, Katrina's floods lifted this tank right off its base. The tank broke right here and spilled more than 1 million gallons of crude oil. To this day, Murphy Oil will neither confirm nor deny this tank had less than 1/10 of its capacity, or that the company's hurricane plan called for filling about 1/3 of the tank to prevent what's happened, a disastrous spill a square mile that includes Bourgeois' house. It left a thick peanut butter-like cake that takes just about all of Bourgeois' strength to nudge.
Let's see if I can. It's all ceramic tile throughout the house, and I laid it all myself.
Bourgeois put a ton of sweat equity into this house, from building the European kitchen cabinets to this sunroom, adding 700 square feet. It's a place chock full of memories, such as the day he was traveling back in '78 and his wife called.
So I found a beautiful lot for $10,000. That was a lot of money back then, you know. Sight unseen, I said, go buy it.
They did. She designed the layout of the house. Bourgeois also recalls the last day his family spent here, August 29th.
And this hole that you see in the roof up here was knocked out by my son with a hatchet that he brought over from his house. And this water came in the house so fast, we didn't have but maybe a minute to get up these stairs, and I'm talking about 5 people. My mother-in-law had MS, and we had to carry her up the stairs.
Bourgeois' mother-in-law survived the wind and the water, but not the wait for rescue and medical help a few blocks away. That, plus the oil contamination, make it easy for Bourgeois to say, bye-bye, St. Bernard.
Believe it or not, I go to bed every night with this on my mind.
To get some peace of mind, Bourgeois hired a lawyer.
The law requires them, as the custodian of these hazardous materials, to be responsible for their cleanup if they leave their plant site.
Frank D'Amico Jr., the strong arm. But it seems Bourgeois got sucker punched. A December 20th appointment for Bourgeois and D'Amico to meet with Murphy's insurance carrier turned into a December 1st phone call.
They changed the appointment I had on the 20th with them, and I just thought I'd go up there and get my money because my lawyer told me to go ahead and take it, but I misunderstood him really, and I thought I didn't need representation, you know.
Before Mr. Bourgeois signed this settlement and agreed to this the other day, hadn't he already signed a contract with you to represent him?
And that's the dastardly part. We had an agreement that we would meet with Murphy's adjusters on the 20th. They contacted our client and said, look, we've got an opening. It's in 2 days. Come up. Don't bring your lawyer. We're not going to have our lawyers there. We can see you on Saturday in Baton Rouge. He tries to call us. We're not in. He says, well, look, we're going to settle anyway, not understanding that there's this loophole in the document. He goes up and takes the money, and now he's given up all rights to a lawsuit, and he's agreed to indemnify Murphy for any future contamination.
In plain, simple English, that means Murphy is free from any further obligation, and the client, the person who signed the settlement and agreed to take the cash is the person who's going to be sued.
That's exactly right. And these people who have been devastated in St. Bernard, the poor people here who have lost everything, are now faced with, do I take this $20,000 or $30,000 that they're offering me that I need desperately to go start my life over, or do I walk away from it? They don't understand what they're doing is they're assuming the liability. They're assuming the risk for any future contamination that may still be in the house after Murphy does the cleanup.
Bourgeois signed on the dotted line. The adjuster cut him a check. The deal calls for Murphy, not Bourgeois, to send in workers like these next door to power wash his house, remove the soil, and get rid of all the oil contamination, and to do testing till the last drop of contamination disappears. Do you think you got a fair settlement when you signed the document that you...
Well, yes, I thought I did.
Murphy says it's contacting all those who called its toll-free number to settle, and it encourages homeowners to let whomever they choose to see and study the offer, knowing full well lawsuits, and especially class action lawsuits, can take years. Plus, a lot of times when lawyers get involved and there's a class action lawsuit, you know where I'm going with this. A lot of people say the attorneys get most of the money.
And I've told all my clients, and you can ask Roy, I said, if the money is right and they're going to do the right thing, take the money now. There's no reason to wait 5 or 10 years for the class action. But they're doing this kind of stuff, and that's what's wrong, Michael.
D'Amico says Murphy and the insurance company know the plight of folks like this family, in the middle of the holiday season, living in cramped quarters and desperate for answers, help, and especially cash.
In my heart, I didn't want to settle. But my wife told me we need money to survive. We have no money, you know, and I just took the money knowing in my head that it was the wrong thing to do.